In the bustling world of business, you're either moving forward or falling behind. Welcome to For Action Takers Only, the podcast and Facebook group where dreams become reality. We're here to fuel your ambition, sharpen your skills, and inspire your entrepreneurial spirit. Dive into the sea of opportunities with our insightful discussions, expert advice, and powerful success stories. From investment strategies to business building tips, we've got it all. Are you ready to take your first step towards your dream life? Join us on this exciting journey, unleash your potential, and watch as your dreams transform into your reality. Remember, inaction is the enemy of progress. So get on the action train with For Action Takers Only. Because the time to act is now and the place to start is here. For those who dare to dream and have the courage to act, the world is their oyster. For Action Takers Only, where dreams meet action. Tune in, take action, and transform your life. Your future self will thank you.
And welcome to For Action Takers Only. We're a podcast of serial entrepreneurs and real estate investors and anyone taking action and living the life they intend to. My name is Todd Kirchhoff, and I'm your host. I started this podcast as a homework assignment in the SubTo community, and it has grown into something more for networking and to meeting other individuals. So I like to hear their stories of like-minded people and other investors and entrepreneurs. So if you like what you hear here, please like and subscribe. We can use the support. Today I have on Brenda Villafranco. She is a native Houstonian, or here in Houston and local to me. I met her at Power Hour about a year ago, and she is in the Gator community. She does EMD lending and short-term lending. So I'm going to bring her in, and we're going to hear her story.
Hey, Todd.
How you doing? How's it going?
I'm doing good. How about yourself?
I'm doing well. Thank you for doing this. I very much appreciate your time this evening.
Thank you for inviting me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, so tell us about yourself. What do you do? You're a nurse, right? You're a nurse. Are you a nurse practitioner, or what's your current occupation?
So my background is emergency nursing, but I haven't done that in about 6 years. I've been doing more of the hospital administrator side. So I've been doing that for about 6 years now, and I do that full time still. So I decided to jump into the real estate space.
So when did you jump in? Was it a year ago when I met you? Is that when you just started?
Yeah, I didn't realize that we met a year ago. You're one of the first people I met at the Power Hour. That is true. Yeah, that was about a year ago. Yeah. And so, at that time I was still kind of thinking things through, trying to see like what this space is all about. What could I possibly bring some value? Because I felt like everybody was really nice and they're very helpful. So I was like, okay, what can I bring to this space? So like, in a sense, I was still trying to figure things out, but it aligned very well. Like I met some really amazing people, and, I've been having so many opportunities still through networking. So I definitely would say that that's key.
Right. So how did you come across Power Hour?
So Power Hour, I came across it on Facebook. After I started following Pace Morby, I believe someone posted something about Power Hour. And so I said, oh, this is here in Houston. And so I looked into it. And then that's when I was like, okay, like I'll have to attend one of these when I'm off on my weekend off from work. And so I decided to attend one of them, and it was very enlightening. I was like, wow, everybody's really helpful here. So that's why I was taken back a little bit, because I'm like, why are people so helpful? And so that's when I realized, I'm like, oh, I'm going to come back again, and I'm going to continue coming back again. So I think I came back like several times. And by that time, like I already had met some of the really cool SubTo leaders.
All right. Guess what? I just noticed that you were muted. So do you mind starting over again?
Yeah, no worries.
All right. So part of it was muted. I'll probably have to edit that out. I don't usually do much editing. I don't know why it was muted. I just noticed that. That happened the other day too. I was like, geez. So first question again, Brenda Villafranco. We had her muted. My bad. Sorry. Bad night. having a difficult night. So anyway, so tell us again. You're a nurse in Houston.
Yeah.
And and we met about a year ago in Houston Power Hour. So I'm starting over again pretty much. So how did you come across Houston Power Hour?
So I came across it after joining Pace Morby's group. I decided someone posted something about Power Hour and I saw that it was in Houston. And so I was like, oh, I wonder what this is all about. And so I decided to go, and that was like one of my first like networking events here in Houston. And I met a lot of the SubTo leaders and just continuously came back because everybody was so kind. So initially I was taken back by it because I was like, why are these people so nice? And so I noticed during the times that I was consistent with coming that they still kept the same level of kindness. So
Okay, so you're a Gator. So you do EMD, and what other kind of loans are you doing? What kind of
so
lending are
I,
you
I
doing?
still I still do private money lending. And I also am doing EMDs as well too. So at this time I'm trying to pick up more of a consistency with EMDs, just so I can get some more checked off there off my list. But I've done over 10 private money lending deals.
10. Wow. So
Yeah.
in the past year.
Yeah. So I have a total of 10 private money lending deals and going on my 7th EMD.
Wow, that's cool. So
Yeah.
how quick did you find it or get into your first deal after going to like the Houston Power Hour or joining Gator? How quick
Yeah.
did you find your first deal?
It took me about a month.
About a month? So
Yeah.
you were able to get one in the 30 days like they boast upon, huh?
Yeah, well, it was really just networking and just getting to meet new people. And I told them what I was doing, and they thought about me and reached out to me the second time and was like, "Hey, I remember like you wanted to do your first deal. I have one coming my way. If you want to take a look at it, we can go through it." And that's kind of how that first deal turned into the second deal and the third deal.
Well, that's cool. So are you in only in Gator, or are you in other communities too?
I'm also in the Owners Club as well, which is a whole new
Okay.
thing for the community. And it's basically just learning how to not just be a business owner, but to also just be an owner and not having to kind of get burned out by running a business, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
Sense. And so
Right.
yeah. And so that's pretty much what I'm in right now. So just Gator and Owners at this time.
Okay. So no sub. You're not part of SubTo.
I'm not, I was going to join it. I told myself I would join SubTo a year after my Gator anniversary. But then after speaking to a lot of the SubTo community at Squad Up Summit, they were just like, no, you don't need to join SubTo. You just need a JV with one of us whenever you actually want a house or you need to get property. So I decided not to.
Yeah. Well, then you joined. So you joined Owners Club instead, huh?
Right. Yeah.
So isn't Owners Club an invitation? You had to be invited to that?
No, it's just an extra membership fee.
Oh, okay.
And so if you want to join it, you can. There's
Oh,
not a
so anybody can join. I thought it was an invitation thing for some reason.
No, it's just they're only were taking a certain amount of people. So if you didn't actually take it at that time, then they were going to close it and you can't join it right now until it reopens again.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So are they going to reopen it? I heard that they weren't really planning it. It was like a one-time deal or something.
No,
Someone else said that, but I don't.
I think they'll still reopen it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
tell us about Gator. Tell us about your experience. What's Gator about? How are you liking it? How did you come across Gator?
So I came through Gator through an ad. So ads really do work. I was on
Mm-hmm.
Instagram scrolling one day and I got, initially I got a post from Bigger Pockets, which I didn't know what Bigger Pockets was. And so then I downloaded all of their, they have like 4 podcasts. And so I downloaded all 4 of them and I just started binging them when I would get ready for work. And then it was during that time they were releasing Pace Morby's book, Wealth Without Cash. And so
Okay.
that got my attention. And so I started following Pace. And then Pace had an ad one day for Gator about being a private money lender. And it caught my attention because it was something I'm like, okay, I have a little bit of liquid cash. Like, I think I could probably do something like this. And so I decided to join in and I ran with it and started networking and seeing how far I can get.
So in Gator, though, do they teach you what kind of things are they teaching you about lending? That's what I'm curious about. What the Gator program's like.
So they basically teach you the structure of how to protect your money. That's number one. The proper paperwork that you should use. And then you can learn to pick up the skill of underwriting to make sure what is a deal and what isn't a deal. They teach you how to vet the borrower as well too, to make sure that maybe it's not a scam, how to look for scams, how to vet a title company, how to properly, and again, if you're still learning this, you can always get with an experienced Gator and they can go through the paperwork with you and do the due diligence as well too.
Okay. Did you hook up with an experienced Gator?
Yeah, I did actually for
Yeah.
my first deal. Yeah.
Okay.
Actually, thankfully, the person that I went in my first deal was already experienced. And so whenever they got on a call with me, they went through what they do to like vet a borrower and do a due diligence. And so he basically explained like how I should look into their LLC if it's in good standing. I should check any like Google reviews, look them up on social media accounts to see if they pop up, check out that information. So before I ever got on a Zoom call with the borrower that I was going to commit to a deal to, I definitely did all those things before getting into one.
Okay. So how long have you been tossing around the idea of getting into real estate investing? Is it just something you were playing around with and decided to
No,
jump since you had some liquid cash?
no, actually, I never thought I was going to get into it. That's the thing. Like I literally pictured just being in healthcare and just doing my thing there. And it wasn't until I purchased a property last April is when it's like the Instagram algorithm started giving me real estate.
Oh, okay. What were you looking for a property and then purchased one, and all of a sudden you start getting these ads for real
Yes, I
estate
started
investors?
getting I started getting ads from like Bigger Pockets. So I was like, huh. So that's pretty much how the discovery came about, to be honest. It wasn't something that I'm like, oh, let me look into what else to do in real estate. No, it was never like that. So
Okay. So it just wasn't really on the radar until you bought something, and then so the ads do work. You
that's
did
what I'm
say
saying. Like,
that. Ads.
yeah, if you're paying for ads, just know that yeah, they definitely do work.
Oh, that's awesome. So how has your experience been? How would you rate the Gator program if I told you to rate it? What would you rate it on a scale like 1 to 10?
10 out of 10, and not
10 out of 10?
yeah, 10 out of 10. Not because of what they taught me, that's amazing too, but just the opportunities with the people I've met, the relationships I've built is what makes it a 10 plus.
Okay, a lot of them they have their own community then. So is that a pretty strong knit community?
Yes. I would say
Okay.
so. Yeah.
Okay. Is it so I guess it would be like the SubTo community. Do they go on the SubTo Facebook, or do they have a Gator Facebook?
No, they have a
That's
Gator.
what I'm wondering.
No, they have a Gator Facebook too. I forget you're not in Gator, you're only in SubTo.
Yeah, yeah.
So, but yours is like twice as much. So just picture your community, right?
Mm-hmm.
But yours is like 10 times even more because you guys have, I believe, like 20,000. Is that correct? Someone
I don't
told me
know. When I
close
joined,
to 20.
yeah, is it 20? I think Pace said when I had him on a couple weeks ago, he said it was up at 25. It could be. So I haven't checked, but I remember when I joined, it was like 11 or 12,000,
Yeah,
and it
see, I
started
think
growing.
you guys had a smaller group initially. So when I started Gator, there was close to 5,000 and now there's close to 12,000.
Okay.
Yeah, so
So
it's
let me. I don't know if you want to answer that. What's the cost of Gator?
when I started it was like close to 3,000.
Okay.
I don't know if it's
You know what the
gone
price has gone up?
and
I'll
yeah,
have to check.
yeah.
But do you feel you learned what you needed to learn to jump into lending, especially you just coming in, just finding an ad? I'm going to go ahead and join this, learn what I need to do, and do some lending. And then so you've had now what 12 or how many successful loans?
Had so far 14. 14.
14.
And there's a couple that still need to be paid out.
Okay.
Yeah. I would say honestly, for someone that didn't know anything about real estate, Like there was words like the jargon that's used in real estate, like promissory note. Like I was like, what is that? Those are things that I just remember being like, whoa, what is all this? And just looking it up. So I'm still learning a lot. There's things that I've done that I'm like, oh, I could improve in that, or next time I would probably want this, or I want this specific. Anytime I loan out now, I want the specific borrower to communicate with me at least every 2 weeks, send me pictures of the progress. I mean, you just kind of learn as you go, and like what your expectations are. Everyone's preference is different. Some people don't even care to like communicate as long as they get paid out. I like to see the progress of how it's going and how close is it to finish.
Okay. So you weren't nervous at all about getting like ripped off? Hey, I'm going to put some money out there on your first deal. I'm going to put this money out there. Should I do this?
Of course, absolutely.
Oh,
My very
all
first
right.
deal, I was so nervous. I was so nervous to wire money. I was like, am I doing this right? And I don't know if it's because the bank makes it even worse when you're going to wire money. Now they have, because of scamming, being so high now they'll have like the sign, like, are you sure you're sending this to the person that you're meaning to send it to? So then I'm like, oh, maybe I should call and verify again. It's like makes you second guess. So I remember just like my hand was like shaking when I was doing my first wire. I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm going to wire this money. And, but then I thought to myself, like, if I don't do it, then either A, I probably won't lend again because I'll just keep backing out. Or B, if for some reason I lose it, I'll just have to start over again, even though it sucks. So that was kind of like my mind framing and thinking. So.
Well, that's a good way of thinking. Hey, if I lose it, I lose it. I can start over again. So most people are like, if I lose it, I'll never start over again, or they think it's the end of the world.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes I tend to do that too. It's like getting into this. Oh man, if I get screwed over in a deal, that'd be the end of the world.
I mean, think about it,
it's
right?
not going to kill me.
Who hasn't get screwed over? Yes, it's maybe it's not equivalent to the amount of money I wired. It's like the same thing, right? You go and buy a protein shake, you can't return it if you don't like it. So there goes your $10 there. But in this case, it was a bigger amount. So I get, why it would be scarier. But at the same time, like I still have time. Like I'm healthy, I'm young. I can go back and make it up again.
So your first one, all short, are they all short? All your deals short-term loans? So you're getting them back pretty quick? Like how long is the duration of your loan?
No, it's so for EMDs it's less than 45 days, 30 days ideal. And then for private money lending, it's usually like 90 days. So it's like it would be cosmetic rehabs, nothing that would take too long. Sometimes I haven't done a 6-month before. I think the longest deal that I've had is a 5-month deal.
Okay.
And it was done by the 4th month.
All right. You've had nobody skip out on you yet, huh?
Not yet. I was like, not yet. Yeah.
Not yet.
Yeah.
So, do you think your experience as a nurse plays into this at all? Does it help in your business?
I think yes and no. I feel like just communication. Like I'm in leadership in healthcare, and so the same thing goes, right? In order to run a big ship, like your communication skills have to be up to par. So that's always been like the struggle for businesses, and it's still the same thing, right? So now you're not only do I overlook the hospital and the rest of the staff, but also now in real estate, like you have a borrower, you have title company, you have if you're JVing with someone, like everyone's communication has to be up to par in the same level so that everybody can understand, how this transaction is going. So it's still, you still need communication. Communication is still key. So yes, I believe it does work.
Okay. So you got some things that go hand in hand, especially with communication is pretty much key in anything, especially sales wise. You don't have to do a lot of sales in nursing.
I've never done sales. So the only time I wish I would have developed that skill early, but do you remember Sam Goody?
Yes.
Okay. So I used to work for them in high school. And
oh, really?
Yeah. And I remember at that time, like they were releasing like the Harry Potter DVD. And so whoever was working the cashier, you will literally have to tell them like, hey, we're actually pre-ordering Harry Potter. Would you like to pre-order? And I remember that was about as salesy as I got. And I remember telling my manager, like, man, this sell thing sucks. Like, people tell me no all the time. And he's like, it's okay. Like, as long as you meet your quota of like 20. So, yeah.
All right. So you've never tried sales before this then, huh?
No. Yeah. It was like, so
So
right after high school. So here's what happened. So my senior year of high school, I saw a kid that had a seizure. I was volunteering at a elementary school at the nurse's office. And so they told us about a kid having a seizure. I run out there with the nurse and we helped the kid out and they called the ambulance. And then I thought to myself, wow, that was really awesome. I think I want to be a nurse. And pretty much that's kind of how it unfolded. I didn't know what I wanted to go to college until that point. I was in my second semester of high school about to graduate. And so that's when I decided to like look into it. And I said, oh, let me go talk to the counselor and see what prerequisites I need for college. And that's pretty much my journey into nursing. And so I jumped into college, did nursing, got into nursing school and graduated. But I knew I always wanted to do the emergency room. And that's what I did.
That's crazy. So you fell into nursing pretty much, kind of happenstance. Hey, this situation happened. All of a sudden, hey, there's this, hey, wow, I got this experience. Hey, I kind of like that. And then kind of the same thing with the lending, because you go and buy a house and all of a sudden you see an ad and decide, oh, I'll check into this. And hey, maybe that means so. So you just kind of fell into it, dropped in your lap.
Yeah.
What luck.
Honestly, I feel like God is so seasonal in my life. Like he always takes me through like different seasons. And so it's up to me to decide, like, even though I fell on my lap, like, do I choose to take it or do I choose to like stay in comfort? Right. And so I decided like, okay, let me go ahead and just get uncomfortable and see what this next season of my life is.
That's awesome. I think that's awesome because it's just working out.
Yeah.
You're just kind of going with the flow and it's working out.
I
So
think
here I'm trying to make everything happen. It's not working out. No.
Yeah. Have you ever read the book? I think it's by Michael Singer. It's Surrendering. I think it's called Surrendering. I read it.
No.
I'll have to send it to you, but it's called it's by Michael A. Singer. Yeah.
Michael A. Singer.
And he basically talks about his journey in life and how every time he surrendered, even when he had a problem, he just kind of like went with the flow. Like everything just seemed to work out. Even when like he had this one situation that seemed impossible, he decided to like, okay, like as hard as the situation seems, I'm just going to like surrender it and let it go and just go with the flow. And like, if you read that book, I'm like, wow, that's really awesome. Cause it takes a lot, right? I think as humans, we always want to try to control the situation, but in reality,
exactly.
Like, it's just better if we just let go.
Yeah, I have a hard time with that.
Yeah.
It's been a thing in my life of having a hard time letting go of things, and I try to control it. So, and I tend to bang my head against the wall a lot. So,
yeah, because it's like the more you want it, the more you want it, like the more you're not going to get it. So you might as well just let it go.
So, how is this starting a business? How have you found that?
Well, I'm looking to scale. So my goal is to basically build enough capital and I want to buy properties and have them either short-term or midterm rental properties. And I was thinking of doing either 2 or 3 next year of actually purchasing some properties and just kind of going like for the next 4 years and see. But I mean, who knows, right? I can say that right now. And then in December, when I reflect on my year, it may change. So, but for now, that's actually
good. And you got the right people around you. You're hanging around the right people that can help you there. So
no, definitely.
You got all the leaders there here in Houston that you know who I'm talking about. They'll be right there. So I've kind of figured you're lending to them.
No, actually,
have you done it?
I've never done it.
Other people?
I've actually I've never lent on a deal with them. It's actually been everyone I've met like in different real estate meetups or It has been people in the community, but I've also had a good amount of people not in our community that I've went to.
Okay, so how many meetups have you been to since you've started doing all this stuff?
Probably over 25.
No, over
Yeah,
25.
yeah. I try to go as many as I can, yeah. Because I
Oh,
noticed like
wow.
that's really the key. Like the more you continue
Yeah.
networking, the more opportunities open.
Oh, so I need to get some. That's probably part of the problem. I haven't been
Yeah.
to any really events. I go to local events just here.
Hmm.
So do you consider the local events though, or are you
Yeah,
traveling
I
out
still
like?
no, I go to loco. I go to loco as well.
Okay,
Yeah, I go to
which
out of
ones you
state.
do?
I go to
What
out
are
of
you
state.
doing here in Houston?
Like there's a meetup on Saturday. You're gonna go to
Yeah.
that one?
Oh, I know that one. Oh
Okay.
yeah, I'm gonna
Yeah.
try to.
Yeah. So I'll be
So
at
I
that one.
should be at that one. Okay. Then we'll talk again. We'll say
Yeah.
howdy.
No, for sure. But no, I mean, I think the more you keep networking, the more opportunities open. At least that's been my experience.
All right. Did you go to Squat Up?
Sure did. It was so epic. I'm wearing the
Oh
shirt.
man.
Yeah.
Huh?
I said I'm wearing the
Okay,
shirt.
the shirt.
Yeah. No, that was such a cool
So
event.
that was
Honestly. It was
yeah.
so
Did you get any deals out of that one?
I did.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah, no, for sure.
So what do you think the most significant challenges have been with lending so far?
I think just I'm always a little bit hesitant to lend to someone I don't know. I know some people do it and are okay with that. Um, I really want to build enough of a network to only lend within that circle. So I'm just more
Okay.
comfortable in, yeah, to at least minimize having to like do the vetting and at least now we just have to like underwrite the deal. But I would feel comfortable because
Mhm.
I've already done deals with these people.
Okay. So you're
Yeah.
not worried about like lending to someone you know and then they're not, hey, well, I know you. Can you just be lenient and not let me pay you back so quick and leave me alone and I'll pay you back when I get to you. I know Pace had one. It's like, hey man, you make enough money now. I don't need to pay you back.
Oh my
He was
God,
telling
they
me
told
about
that.
kind of pretty much, hey man, you're making enough now. You really don't need this.
Oh my gosh, that's so crazy.
Yeah,
No, I mean it's
that
it's
is.
about it's about setting your expectations, right? Like what is
Mm-hmm.
your risk tolerance? If you're okay with loaning to someone you've done deals with and you feel comfortable saying like, "Hey, like we don't have to put a late fee," then that's up to you. I still set my expectations, and so I don't want to be like lenient, so to speak, but at least I'm comfortable enough that I know that they communicate with me all the time. And so it's not like
Okay.
they're, you know what I mean? So I think it just depends on people's risk tolerance level.
All right. So how many have you turned down? Let me ask you that. How many people have come to you for money and say, hey, I need to borrow? And you're like, no, I'm not doing that.
Several. I mean, probably more than 20. A lot of them were just
Yeah. Do you make
not good deals. Yeah.
not good deals? So you looked at the deal or were you looking at the person?
No, both.
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 Well,
Yeah.
yeah, we kind of got to them.
Yeah. Yeah. The numbers don't
So
lie.
that's a whole lot more. Yeah. Cause now you got to be on top of the deal and then you got to really check out this person. So if the person's putting on a good act, then you could still end up in a bind, even though the deal might be okay, huh?
Yeah, it's true. I mean, I think another thing to pay attention to is like if someone says, "Hey, I have a deal," and they're like, "Yeah, send me the details." Like instead of getting on a call, they'll send me like this much. It's like property address. I'm like, okay, I'm not doing a deal with you. Like you don't even want to be detailed in your details. So
Right. That should be a
yeah,
big red flag.
exactly. Yeah. So those are things to like take into consideration.
All right. So, what's been the sketchiest one? Can you tell us the story about it?
Um, well, recently, probably like a month or so ago, I got a message on my Facebook Messenger, and it was someone that I already knew was a scammer and
Oh, okay.
wanted to do a deal. And so I told him, like, I'm not doing any deals with you. Like, if anything, you've defaulted with people. And so he responded back and apologized and said he would work on it. I'm like, so
Well, I think I might know who you're talking about.
yeah.
There's one guy, yeah, he came around, and I remember when I first got in, he was getting everybody. Oh, he had these deals, and he ripped off all of them.
Yeah.
I think
So
he got a
it's,
couple million out of it too. So, well, that's
yeah.
scary.
Yeah.
Well,
So now,
Paige told me that. Yeah, go ahead.
no, I was just going to say, like, yeah, it's unfortunate because it's people's hardworking money, you know?
Right. Paige told me about one guy that he was dealing with that cleaned him out. He had one time with it. They had one guy got everything from him, cleaned him out,
Yeah.
and I was like, well, how the hell did you know?
Jamil did too. He said, he
Yeah.
mentioned something about as well, like he lost $300,000. But
Mm-hmm.
again, like the cool thing about his story, and Pace has a similar story too, but in Jamil's story is he lost $300,000 and he went to go do like comedy somewhere on the West Coast, and then that comedy he kind of like gave up on it because he's like, you got to make a lot of money in order for you to like really be successful, and or like to be
Mm-hmm.
like a Kevin Hart. But that led him to meeting like Pace's partner, and that led him to meeting Pace. And so, had he not lost the $300,000, he would have never had a partnership with Pace. So I was like, wow, that's pretty awesome.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, he told me the story about them meeting and doing the TV shows, and I was that's cool.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's really cool. So he made the 300 grand and more. He made an amazing partnership. So
Right. So what are most of your deals right now? Are they EMD, or are they double close, or what? They're short term. Are you going to get into longer term loans, bigger lending?
I think eventually, once I build enough capital to, then I'll be able to. But as of now, I'll stick right now with the short term.
Okay. Are you looking into raising capital too? Like everybody, I mean, there's a lot of people learning about raising capital. So are you doing that, taking that
I
route
think
also?
I'm doing that without really intentionally doing that per se. Like I connected two people to a borrower that I've done deals with, and they've been paid out. So I was like, oh, technically I was a connector without really connecting, So yeah, it's just I like to take my times with building relationships, and I want them to be genuine. So it's a skill I definitely would love to acquire, but it's not anything like I'm rushing for.
Okay. So someone looking to Gator, what would you say to them? What kind of advice would you give someone looking to join Gator?
If you are ready to be uncomfortable and willing to meet amazing people, then totally do it. If you don't and you're comfortable, then don't join it, because there's no point. If you want to do something different, like you have to do something different. And then if you do actually join it, make sure before you do your first deal that you actually JV with someone that's experienced.
Okay. So JVing I would think that would be important, especially with the lending.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because when I was getting into SubTo, I thought, oh, lending, that would be easy, right? Especially like EMD lending, that should be easy, But it's like, well, what if they don't pay me back? Start worrying about that. So it's like, no, I'll just stick with the SubTo. I'll do that. I didn't want to put my name out there with like, oh, hey, I got a lot of money too. Because I always like that kind of makes you a target, doesn't it? So that's
I
the
don't
kind
know.
of mentality.
I know I'm like a little pond right now compared to like the people that really have, like I'm a fish in a big pond of people that have
Right.
way more money than I do. So
Right. You didn't they just have an owners club meetup? So you're meeting with people that, and I heard owners club. Brian Madsen's in owners club, and he was telling me about it. And
yeah.
you're meeting with the big dogs.
Yeah, for sure. So, I mean, I'm just like soaking it all in, to be honest.
Yeah. You're not little $1 million, couple $1 million business owners anymore. You're up there with the multi-million, billion-dollar business owners now. So you're rubbing elbows with the big dogs. Yeah.
Yeah.
So how is it?
Intentionally.
How do you like that? Right.
It's good.
Intentionally, but that's what you got to do.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I'm just trying to meet as many owners as I possibly can and see how we can possibly work together. So If I can bring them value, amazing. And if they can bring me value, great. So I'm in it for the
Right.
long
So,
term. I definitely want to build relationships.
yeah. Anybody you've really connected with so far in Owners Club that you got a battle buddy in Owners Club?
Yeah, I have
Yeah.
actually like 3 or 4.
Okay. So do you
Yeah.
have a regular battle buddy in Gator then? I'd take it you do.
Yep. I do. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. So, what are some core values and principles that guide you in your professional life?
I think integrity and transparency. I think if you keep those at the core value, then you'll see the difference of what some people's integrity and transparency is. I've always led with that. The hospital I work for, that's actually one of their core values is integrity, and so we actually lead with that. So it's already a habit that I'm accustomed to.
All right. So, and you did that. You got right out of nursing right into nursing right out of high school. You said. So, how long have you been doing that? How many
Gosh,
years?
maybe close to like 15 years.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
15 years already.
yeah.
Okay. So where do you see yourself going now then with this? Since this is the last year has this changed your life in the last year? Would you say?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Definitely gives me a perspective that you can always try something. It doesn't matter what age you are. It's never too late to start. And it's okay if you don't remain with the same career forever. And you don't have to. If you want to change, if I decided to change tomorrow to something different other than real estate, that's okay too. As long as it makes me happy.
I just think it's awesome that it just kind of it just dropped in your lap and you just went with it. No fear. It doesn't sound like there's any fear there. If there was, you just like squashed it and like I'm just gonna do this and this is gonna be cool.
You have to, right? Our brains automatically give us negative thoughts. Like if I allowed
Right.
my to take over me, I would never do anything.
So what are some habits that you do to combat negative thoughts?
So typically, let's just say I'm driving, right? If I'm driving in the morning, headed to work, and I'm thinking of something specifically, like, well, for instance, my first PML deal, I was like, oh my gosh,
Mm-hmm.
what if they don't pay me back? Then it was like, I have to be observant of those thoughts. And so I was like, no, they are going to pay me back because I did my part, because the connector did their part. And so they're still communicating and it's going well. So it's like you still have to be observant of those thoughts, and it's okay to have them. Like it doesn't make you a bad human just because we're going to get negative thoughts. But it's like how much space are you going to give that thought in your head? And I don't give them
Exactly.
any, like I try my hardest to like not give them any space in my head.
Sounds like you do a really good job at it.
Yeah. You
See,
have to. If not, it'll take over.
it'll cripple you. It crippled
Yeah.
me. I stayed away from real estate. You know, I've always wanted. I like investing. I do stock market and stuff like that. But I stayed
Mhm.
away from real estate. I thought the losses and everything would be way too big.
Mhm.
And that's
Did you have like a
and I guess
situation? Did you have a situation that maybe didn't
no,
go
it's
well, or?
no. Here's the situation. When I was a kid, and we
Mhm.
moved from Chicago to Texas, watching my folks argue over moving and getting the house sold and all the hell they went through getting the house sold. And then when we got here, they went from one house to another house. So they bought a bigger house and it was like too big. You know, that was like they it was too big and too much. They were house poor. So they wanted to get into a smaller house where they had money. So I saw them go through all that. So when it came up, and I just remember they argued a lot. So
Okay.
when I got older, I just was like, that's a bad situation. Buying a house is not something fun, you know.
Yeah,
And I
you just experienced it the bad way, right, growing up. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
I saw the bad of it. So it really I never thought it did, but it did because I had an inheritance when I turned like 18, and my mom always tried to talk me, you need to go buy a house. Go buy a house. Don't live in it, just go buy one and rent it out. But I was like,
Mm,
oh no, hell no. So I was
yeah.
scared to death of buying a house. I've never bought my own house until I did my first wholesale deal. I didn't buy my
Oh,
own house. I've always rented.
yeah. Yeah. Well, you have
Yeah,
it now,
just
and that's all that
yeah.
matters.
So I'm intrigued by people like you that can just kind of go and don't seem to ever show any fear. So
No, I
that's the
have
other reason I did the
I
podcast.
experience fear. But I think now just because experience life, right? Life happens and
Hmm.
I'm still here. I'm still alive. I'm still healthy. And worst case scenario, again, you get up and start over. So
All
that's
right,
it.
we've been talking a lot about EMDs and closings and double, or said some about double closing. Can you explain what that is to people that might not know?
Sure. So EMDs are earnest money deposit. So basically, what I do is I fund, usually for wholesalers, they'll put a property under contract and they will actually put an earnest money deposit showing of good faith that, they're going to actually get this property to sell to someone. So I will come in. So let's just say, for instance, there's a wholesaler that gets several deals a month and he had to put 5,000 for every property that he puts under contract. That's already, you know, more than 20 grand, right? So he doesn't want to actually tie up all of his money. So this is where I'll come in and help him fund those deals while he gets more properties under contract. And so when he finds the end buyer will come and they have to put their earnest money deposit, and then that's how I get paid out.
Okay. And what's the double closing?
And then double closing is basically you have an A to B contract, and then you have the C and D contract, which is like wholesaler, wholesaler, and then you have the buyer. And sometimes you'll have this double close because they don't want to disclose how much the wholesaler's assignment fee is, or some states actually don't allow for wholesaling. And so here's where I'll come in the middle and provide the money for that transaction and charge a portion of that money for it.
Okay. And how do you do the funding? And what are the steps like? Get the funding to the people? Is there a way, do you have to
Yeah, there's
follow up?
I have you're meaning like lead wise, or you're meaning like the steps to start the process?
Yeah, I guess to start the process to give the person a loan. If you're going to give the person the money, okay, I'm going to go ahead and do this deal. I'm going to give them the loan. I always wondered, how do you get them the money? How do you fund the deal?
Just again, it goes with contracts and paperwork to the title company, making sure that you
Okay.
vet their purchase sale agreement, their LLC, making sure they're legit. And once everything from that standpoint is good, then you go on to the title company, vet the title company, send them an email explaining how my funds will be protected, and who will receive the funds before an inspection period is over. So it's all a matter
Okay.
of will the title company agree to that? And if they don't, then I don't send any money to them.
Okay. So pretty much all your money goes through title. You're not sending money out to just anybody.
That's correct.
So you're not sending it out to the borrower. It goes directly to title, and then title takes care of it, right?
Yes. From
Okay.
a wholesaler perspective, yes.
Yeah, because someone like me that doesn't really know much about lending and borrowing or whatever, it's like, hey, I need this money. I need this money. Hey, I need the check. No, I don't want it to go to title. So I was like, well,
Yeah.
how does that work? So I started learning. So I didn't know anything. When I got in, I didn't know anything about real estate. I was really green. I didn't know. I thought earnest money, you give that to the seller.
Oh,
Because I
yeah.
had my first wholesale deal. The guy was like, "Yeah, I need some earnest money. I need some cash in my pocket." So I went back to the person. Hey, I need to get. He wants earnest. He wants 1,000 earnest money. Can we get him $1,000? Yeah, I'll put $1,000 in title. No problem. I was like, no, he wants that in his pocket. He's like, well, tough.
Yeah.
So I was like,
No,
so I
definitely.
kind of felt real stupid. I was like, oh, I can't give you cash. That's that title. So your earnest money is that title.
That's so funny. Yeah.
It is. It is. I felt like a moron.
Well,
So
that's kind of how I felt too when I started real estate. I'm like, whoa, I don't know a lot of the vocabulary, what they're using. So I had to like Google a lot of this stuff.
yeah. So is that what you were doing? Like starting out, and people would say something, so you go home and Google the word.
Yeah.
I'll
I
Google
was
this.
just
I
like
gotta
writing
find
that.
what they're
Like,
talking about.
never heard about it. Let me see. Yeah, I was actually.
Yeah. So, and you never had any thoughts during that time when you're Googling words? Well, hey, I don't even know what these words are. Should I really be doing this?
I mean, nowadays, you Google it, You can chat GPT it. Hey, can you break it down into elementary terms? I mean, there's really not an excuse. It's just what you're willing to put into work
Well,
into.
YouTube,
Yeah,
YouTube, you can learn about anything too.
yeah, there you go. I mean, there's pretty much like every app you can look something up, you can YouTube it. Like nowadays is there's really no excuse to be honest.
All right. So where does Brenda see herself in 5 years?
Sheesh. I see myself owning a couple of businesses, see myself owning several properties, and that's it for now. We'll
Okay,
see.
so you're not going to join SubTo. They've talked you how to join a SubTo, other SubTo members. I can't believe they did that. I'm going to have to cuss them. But
Yeah, yeah.
have you thought about joining any other of the other groups like Zero Down? You're talking about business. Have you thought about joining Zero Down, learning about buying businesses?
No, because more than likely I'll probably JV with someone.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. More than likely, and they'll kind of guide me through that. We'll see. I don't know. It may
So
just fall in my lap again.
JVing, you're saying JVing is the best way to just start learning, huh?
Absolutely, for sure. Why
Find
not learn
someone
from someone
doing it.
that's already doing it?
Right. Find someone doing it and join them.
Yeah. I don't know if you heard me, but I said I don't know. It may fall on my lap as well too. Just never know.
Yeah. So do you have any plans on quitting nursing since you're doing this now and this is starting to take some?
Possibly. I mean, like it's something I would like to scale enough to what I make, over my salary for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
So are you let me ask you this, on like in SubTo, they talk about teams a lot and building teams and like, for your business. So they do that a lot in Gator?
No, I think Gator Elite does, which is another tier. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So you haven't started building a team for your business. It's just you?
It's just me right now. Yeah. I don't get consistent leads like that.
All right. How do you now? Or you did say something about leads. How are you finding your leads? But you did say that too. You find them by networking. Pretty much all your deals have come through.
Yeah, networking and social media.
Okay. So are you putting ads out on social media? But then you're lending to people you don't know.
No, I'm not putting ads out on social media, but I'll post it like on my story or, actually
Okay.
like friends, or if I'm posting like what I'm looking for, I just allow myself to like put a story and saying what I'm looking for.
Okay. What's the limit on the amount that you'll lend? How much do you lend?
For short term, it doesn't matter. And then for private money, it doesn't matter either because there's money all around me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Have you ever thought about being a private money partner on any deals? You talked about wanting to buy your own deals. Would you private money partner with somebody?
Yeah, I am actually a private money I have a private money partnership with Andrew and Brad.
Okay.
Yeah, and so we have a house
together.
Yeah, we have a house together. I provided entry fee, and so we're doing that for the next 30 years. So it was a split equity, split cash flow.
Yeah. So how did y'all do that? Did y'all start an LLC with that? And y'all are all part of the LLC? Okay.
They started their LLC together, and then we put mines in with I use my self-directed IRA. And so I was able to fund that through my self-directed. So I didn't really have to be in the LLC as long as the operating agreement was up to par.
Okay. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, that's some slick paperwork there.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you got your self-directed working for you too in this. That's awesome.
Yeah.
All right. So no real plans to retire then in the near future?
Maybe.
From your nursing? Maybe. This has really got to take off.
Yeah, maybe. I'm not sure. Like that's
so. All right. I see you got a website, the swiftemd.com.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's
okay,
for
so do you have your?
That's for
your lending. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have any other websites? You tell everybody your social. We need to do that. What's all your social media?
So I pretty much respond on my Instagram, which is Brenda Builds Wealth. So if anyone wants to send me a message, you're more than welcome to.
Brenda Builds Wealth. Okay, and that's your okay. And then you have the website, theswiftemd.com. And then she also has her Facebook by her name, so you can find her on her name. So, did you want to give people your email address if they want to look for you for lending?
Yeah, well, it's on my website. They just send me an Instagram message, and I'll respond to them. Yeah.
All there. Okay, so I'll have all that in the description too afterwards.
Sounds good.
Yeah. So what else is going on? How come we haven't been having any? You hang out with Andrew a lot. Do you hang out with Andrew and Brad, or do you talk with them often? We need to know why they're not doing power hours.
Yeah. I think they just got into more of like the flipping side.
Okay, so they've just been busy.
So, yeah, they started a new project on that, so they've been doing more of that. Yeah. I don't know.
I've been thinking about.
I don't think their power hour was ever theirs. I don't know.
No.
I'm not sure. I thought it was like
Andrew and Brad, or
Jeff? I thought it was Jeff and Regina. Yeah. Now they're doing more.
Okay.
Of flip, so.
All right. So are you working with Andrew and Brad a lot?
No, not necessarily. I mean, when I see them, we'll hang out, but not working with them. No, I'm doing my own thing with private money lending, and they're doing their own thing with flips and SubTo houses. So.
All right.
Yeah.
So what's on the agenda now with Owners Club? So they've had one meetup this year. They have others scheduled?
We have our Boston retreat coming up at the end of this month.
Mm-hmm.
And that's going to be the last one for the year, and then I don't know about next year. Like, they haven't released anything yet, so.
So do they have like a Kajabi where they have classes and courses? What are they doing with Owners Club?
Do they have courses? No, it's mostly like Zoom calls that they have, but they also get teaching during the retreats as well too.
Okay. So are they doing a lot of Zooms like SubTo or Gator does? I don't know if does Gator do a lot of Zooms? SubTo does a lot of Zooms.
Gator does do a lot of Zooms because now they've added like underwriting and some other, I think like a few more other topics, safety topics. So there's Zooms with that too. How to build, there's like 5 different topics. I can't keep up, honestly. There's so many.
Okay. So what about your underwriting skills?
Mm-hmm.
Do you have you learned to underwrite?
I'm still learning as we speak. Yeah.
How difficult do you find it?
It's not even that it's difficult. It's just, it's boring.
It's boring, huh?
Yeah. I think if it was more intriguing, I'd enjoy it. So, but I know it's a skill to actually have. It'll bring a lot of value and save you some money.
Like, so what are you finding with it? The challenges with it besides it being boring. So you got to do a lot of research, right? And then number crunching.
Comps, number crunching, making sure like there's different rules. Like even with comping, like can't cross this street, or you know what I mean. Like everything is minus the square footage if it passes this year with the house. Like, yeah, it's just getting that down.
Okay, someone that wants to learn comping, what would you say that absolutely has no skill, or not comping, but say underwriting? What would you say the first thing they need to do, or first thing they should start learning? Comping?
Yeah, probably so, honestly. But I mean, I feel either or. Like you couldn't go wrong with either. They're both going to benefit you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so how are your skills on comping? Did you do a lot of that?
It's okay. It's nothing. It's still rusty, to be honest.
Do you have someone that does it for you?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That you can reach out to that, hey, can comp these and tell me what you think?
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to get to. It's like, okay, who's doing your comping? Who's
yeah,
no. I'm taking a college course and I'm learning all these things. It's I'm even learning legal, like air rights, about the air rights and the,
oh wow,
surface rights and subsurface rights and all that. I've been doing all the financial stuff, but my head is spinning right now. So it's been spinning for the last 2 weeks.
oh, wow.
Yeah, it's been neat. So
sorry, what was that?
No,
you're gonna say.
Go
something?
ahead. I'm lost. I missed it. So go ahead. What were you gonna ask?
No, I was just gonna say, like, when's the cutoff? Like, how long is usually your podcast as far as like editing?
Oh, editing? I do 1 hour. Are you good with that?
Oh
You
yeah,
got
yeah.
stuff you got to do?
No, that's good. I was just
Yeah.
wondering, like, because I guess you would probably have to edit this part, right?
I don't edit.
Really?
It's no, why? I like it raw. I like it thing. I'm not, I'm not like a big time professional, so I don't want it to really come across that much so
Hmm.
professional. So I think I like the naturalness of it. That's why, when I first started doing them too, I was doing topics and it just never would flow. It was like go stale real quick,
Really?
and yeah, the topics are hard to stay on and try to talk about an hour. This is more of a networking. So I wanted to get to know you. I wanted to hear your story, how you got started, what made you decide to do it, what keeps you doing it,
Oh
but
yeah. I
you're,
think
you're having, you're, you're having good success. So
yeah, no, I'm having a blast, to be honest. Every new person I meet, I enjoy listening to their journey.
yeah,
Yeah.
you're hearing a lot of stories. So what kind of skills have you developed since you've been in this Gator? What kind of, what's the main one that sticks out to you?
Networking. I was
Is it
more on the
networking?
introverted side after COVID. So I feel like coming out of my shell was really something that I had to work with.
Really?
Hmm.
You don't seem that much of an introvert to me. When I met you, you didn't
Yeah,
seem
I'm
like
like
that.
in the middle, right? So when
Hmm.
COVID happened, I did more, I didn't really care to go and meet people. I was like, nah, I'll just stay here at home so yeah, it was something to definitely come out of my shell.
Well, that's good. You don't
Yeah.
seem to be one that likes that sits around and seems to get comfortable somewhere. You don't that, at least to me, you don't seem like that. So
Yeah, I mean, not
you seem
often, but it happens. Yeah.
well. We all can get comfortable and then just like to sit for a little while. That's I think the natural. Just like the negative thoughts you're talking about, we all have them. We all go
Hmm.
through these certain things. So, what's your biggest pick me up when you're going through the hard times? What do you look to?
Jesus, reading the Bible,
Awesome.
meditating, prayer. That's really my go-to. But that's a habit
Yeah.
I've consistently adapted early in the morning. So it's something that makes my day start off best.
Any other habits that you've changed in this journey? Any things hey, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. This is to better myself. Have you done any other things?
As far as like, I usually exercise Monday through Thursday, but now I would like to incorporate more of like walking 10,000 steps while I'm actually talking on the phone is something that I would like to start doing instead of just
Okay.
like actually
You do
sitting.
okay.
Yeah.
So like some people read books. Are you a book reader? Do you read a
Yep,
lot?
I do.
Okay.
I do Audible
You gave
or
me
I,
one book. You gave me one, The
oh
Surrendering.
yeah, the
So what are
surrender.
what are some of your go-to books? What would be some that you really recommend for people, especially starting out? Say what's the biggest one that sticks out in your last year?
Um, Millionaire Mindset. That's one.
Okay.
100
Yeah.
Million by Alex Hormozy.
Okay.
That's two. The Surrender Experiment, which is the one I told you about.
Right. I'm going to look into that one.
Yeah, those are probably my top three that I've read this year that I was like, oh, that was really good.
How many books did you read this last year?
Uh, I don't know. I didn't keep track, but I try to read at least one a month. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
you read pretty regular.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I've always been a reader, to be honest.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
That's a good hobby to have. So, all right. Well, we're almost an hour. Uh, what's your we said 5 years. What do you look like in 5 years? What do you look like in 10 years? What's your long term goal with this? Do you hope what do you really want to do with this now that you've been doing it a year? Sorry,
Being
I'm
able
asking
to
the same question, but
like create my own schedule, my own freedom, but also being able to like help people, help my family.
all right. So, all right, the big thing is, I know Pace always talked about was knowing your why. Do you have your why? Do you know it well? Do you have it well defined?
Depends. If it's family, it's my parents. That's my why. If it's outside of me, then it's helping, impacting people. And how can I get them to want to do the same? Not saying that being a 9 to 5 is a bad thing. There's nothing wrong with that. I think that if you want to be that way, that's great. But however you can impact people is really the point on being on earth, right?
Right. I think you're right. I think we've lost a lot of our society is just gotten stuck in a weird place. So, especially the last couple years since COVID.
Oh, yeah, definitely. For sure.
So are now okay with all the political tensions and BS going on? Do you have any concerns about the real estate market and lending in the future?
No, I don't actually even
No,
watch it, to be honest.
that's good.
Yeah.
So
I
that's
if I
awesome.
see something huge that happened, I'm sure I'll hear about it from someone. So I
Yeah.
try to keep as much negativity out of my head as possible.
Okay. Yeah. Well, you got to, and because
Yeah.
there's a lot. We're bombarded with a lot. So yeah, I quit watching TV. Oh, really before COVID, but man, COVID, boy,
Yeah.
that really changed things. I just can't believe how everything has changed in the last couple of years. How it's just flipped over. It's been unreal.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But I'm an old fart, so I just like, wow, the world has really changed.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah.
A lot. Yeah. So okay, we're over an hour now, so I appreciate your time. And again, is there anything you want to tell anybody on our way out? Any advice you want to give? Anything you want to? Any shout outs? Anything like that?
Um, just take action. Just start. Doesn't matter how little, how big, just do it. That's it. Be an action taker.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, you're not going to get very far without taking action, right?
Yeah. It's a true story.
Thank you, Brenda. I thank you for your time, and you have a wonderful evening. And I'm going to go ahead and end this.
Sounds good. Hey, don't forget to send me the link for your background.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Yeah, I want to
So
do
I'm
mine.
not. All right, hold on.